Good afternoon and welcome to the 2018 Cox Inspirational Student Hero Awards. My name is David Delemann. I have the pleasure of serving as Vice President for Cox's Gulf Coast Market. And I want to extend a warm welcome to everyone here today as we celebrate the amazing accomplishments of these students. This afternoon, 30 students from across Okaloosa County will be called up here to the front as we honor the courage and commitment they've demonstrated in the face of tremendous obstacles. These heroes have endured unthinkable challenges in life, yet they come to school each day with their heads up and smiles on their faces, inspiring those around them. It's a privilege for all of us at Cox to honor these students. We started this program in our New Orleans market 25 years ago, and today we honor heroes all across the Southeast. These 30 students we recognize today join an elite list of Cox heroes who continue to inspire the people they encounter. On behalf of all of our Cox employees locally, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules for this celebration, and congratulations to each of our heroes. At this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Cam Johnson from our Government and Public Affairs Department.
Thank you very much, and thank you, David. I'd like to welcome everybody as well. This is a great event that we have each year, and it is definitely one of our favorite events for Cox Communications here along the Gulf Coast. We cannot do this event without partnership from the schools and from the school district, so I thank everybody involved with this program to help us recognize these outstanding students. As David mentioned, this event started 25 years ago in our New Orleans market. We've heard a lot of great stories and a lot of great events, or a lot of great hero stories that we're going to continue today. So you'll hear a little bit from some, you'll hear a lot more from others, but each one has been through something special, and it is nice to be able to recognize them today. They might not be a valedictorian, they might not be the all-star quarterback, but these children need to be celebrated for what they've accomplished and what they do in their lives. So thank you for coming today and helping us do that. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with the awards. I know that's what we're all here for. Each student will come to the front with their presenter. We're going to line up on my right, your left side of the room. On the back of the student's name tag is their number in which we'll call them up. I'll call them up in sets of 10, and I'll call up the first group in just a second. The presenter will come here to the podium. Please keep your comments short as you talk about each student. We do have 30 students today that we are presenting, so we request that you keep your comments to a short minute or so. This presenter will be here. We do have an X right here to my right, to the right of the podium for the student to stand. That way they can be on camera as we are videotaping this. Following the presentation from the presenter, they will then step over to between the flowers where Mr. Delemann, who you just met, and Kristen Longley from our Public Affairs Department will present the students with a medallion from Cox. Also, we have certificates from Congressman Matt Gaetz, Representative Mel Ponder, and State Senator Doug Broxson, and I would like to thank Callie Fox from Senator Broxson's office, who's here today in attendance. So we will be presenting the students with those certificates and medallion. We'll also take their picture right here in front of the flowers. If the student could wait, the picture will actually be printed out on site, and then you can take the picture take the picture with you before you sit down. We do request that all the students stay until the end of the program. We're going to do a group shot up front at the end of the program. As I said, the students' names are mentioned alphabetically by school, and that is the order in which we will be calling up the students. So if I can go ahead and get numbers 1 through 10 to line up on the left side of the room. We'll go ahead. We have Sean and Erica and Chuck over there. That'll put everybody in order. So I make sure I call up the right people at the right time. I will apologize in advance because I'm sure I'm going to do this a lot. If I mispronounce your name, I apologize for that before we get started. And as soon as I get the thumbs up from somebody over there, we will go ahead and get started. First one will be coming to us from Antioch Elementary School. And I see him coming down the side now. All right, so our first hero, as I mentioned, does come from Antioch Elementary School. Marcus Mashiro, I hope I said that right, MOSCHINO, apologize, will be introduced by Stacy Callahan.
Good afternoon. It is my honor to introduce Marcos MOSCHINO. this year's Cox Inspirational Student Hero for Antioch Elementary School. Marcos is an exceptional young man who comes to school each day with a focused, motivated, and positive attitude, striving to be the best student and person that he can possibly be. He is one of the most well-behaved, well-mannered, and respectful aviators on our campus. He puts others before himself and will do whatever he can to assist his teachers or peers. He is always willing and eager to help make students in our classroom feel welcomed and included. Marcos understands that we can't be perfect all the time, and when mistakes are made, a lesson should be learned from those mistakes. And he's a wonderful role model in this regard. On the rare occasions that he forgets to bring something to school, or maybe he's talking when he shouldn't be, he immediately offers a sincere apology. His peers have witnessed this behavior, and several of them have started taking ownership of their mistakes and apologizing for them when necessary. Marcos enrolled at Antioch in February of 2017, so he has been in our school for just over a year now. He has worked hard and maintained proficient grades, achieving AB honor roll on several occasions, and he also works hard to achieve his quarterly goals for accelerated reading and accelerated math. Marcos loves to come to school, greeting his teachers and classmates with a big smile each morning, and he rarely misses a day. Outsiders looking in might think that Marcos is just an ordinary second grader, but ordinary, he is not. Marcos is an inspiration. I mentioned a few minutes ago that Marcos enrolled at Antioch in February of 2017. That's because an unexpected tragedy occurred in his life in the month prior to his enrollment. His mother passed away. After his mother's passing, Marcos moved from California here to Crestview to live with his dad. It has just been over a year since Marcos' mother passed away, and yet during this challenging transition, with the help of his family, he has chosen to make the best that he can out of what has happened. Marcos continues to have some challenging days or portions of days that are challenging, and when he needs to share this with his teachers or his peers, we listen. We give him encouraging words, we acknowledge his feelings, and we give him big hugs, because that's what Marcos does for us when we have challenging days. Marcos is an amazing young man that has taught us to keep our heads up and to keep working hard, and he is such a special part of our class. Marcos is an inspiration to us all.
CARA DELEMARRE was named Hero for Blue Water Elementary School, and Allison LaFeu will share her story.
Good afternoon. I nominated CARA because I said that if you were to walk into my fifth grade classroom and look around, you would think, well, she's just like every other kid in here. And she's really not. She's dealing and living with two very life-changing events. The first one being when she was in kindergarten, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is a serious, serious illness and requires a lot of monitoring. And she's just a mature child who takes care of this in the classroom every day seamlessly. She will step out and come back in, doesn't miss a beat, and she's just an awesome student. You would never know really the complexity or the seriousness of her disease by watching her. The other event was in 2016. Her father was killed overseas, serving for the United States. And they moved here because this is where her mom and her dad wanted to retire. So even in addition to that, she's moving to a brand new place, a brand new school. And at the beginning of the year, we do a book called Me by the Numbers, and you just pick 10 significant numbers, and then you tell why they're important to you. Her entire book was about her dad. And reading it, I don't want to get upset. Reading it, just full of love and pride and respect. Sorry. And she's 10. That's the other thing I think about her age. Anyway, I just know her dad has a beautiful legacy in his daughter, CARA. She's just a terrific kid. And I'm grateful. She walked up. Okay, I'll get over this. She walked up when her mom, I guess, informed her she had been nominated, and she said, "Miss LaFay, thank you so much for she's so mature. That is just what overwhelms me. Why she inspires me. She is such a mature child." She walked up and she said, "Miss LaFay, thank you for nominating me." And I said, "Cara, it's my honor. It's my honor to nominate you. She's just a terrific girl, and that's why I nominated her."
Bob Sykes Elementary School chose Mason Kennedy as their hero, and Lauren Hopton will tell us why.
All right. I'm Lauren Hopton from Bob Sykes, and Mason's teacher couldn't be here today, so I have a few words from her. Mason Kennedy was nominated for our Cox Student Hero from our school because of his dramatic improvement in behavior. During his kindergarten and first grade years, he was frequently in the office due to misbehavior in the classroom or less structured settings such as PE, lunch, or recess. He appeared emotionally immature and unable to get along with authority figures and peers. When he was on the sidewalks with an administrator or his class, he never seemed happy, and he always seemed to be frowning with a despondent look on his face. However, this year in second grade, he has been trying to be a successful student. He is told that he is loved and can learn to get along with others. Mason's attitude is all around much more positive and cooperative. He smiles much of the time because he is successful in and out of the classroom. He works hard to make positive choices, and we look forward to watching him grow more.
Dr. Cynthia Hudson of Bruner Middle School will now tell us about their hero, FRANCESA CABALLA.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, Francesca could not be here, but I still would like to share some attributes of this exceptional young lady. Francesca is one of the most motivated students that we've met at Bruner Middle School. Not only does she give 100% effort, but she encourages her classmates to give their best. It's hard to believe that Francesca has only been with us less than a year, and she's only been in our country less than a year. When faced with adversity, Francesca believes that challenges should motivate people to work harder and strive for achievement. What makes Francesca our hero? Well, Francesca came to our country without her mother and her sister, her twin sister at that. She and her father came. So she had to overcome the barriers of separation, emotional barriers, and a language barrier to not only thrive, but to be successful of learning a new language. And you know, in Florida, we have some of the most rigorous standards in our country. So she is thriving, she is successful, she's earning A's and B's in her courses. She tutors mathematics, which is one of the courses that she loves, and she is one of our heroes at Bruner Middle School. So join me in thanking Francesca.
Senior Master Sergeant Joel Shepard from the ROTC at Choctawhatchee High School will now tell us what makes Mark Shubnikoff a hero.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is my privilege to present this mighty beast to you, Mark Shubnikoff. Now, Mark Shubnikoff came to America in 2014. Him and his family came from Russia as migrants, and he's joined here by his father, Igor, his mother, Olga, and his younger sister, Uliana, who received this award last year. I met Mark in 2015 and when he joined Choctawhatchee High School's junior ROTC program, and I got to see the joy and the light that he brings into any room right away. What he loves most about America since he's been here the last 3 years, he loves the warmth, he loves the nice people in this area, he loves the sporting events, he loves high school football games, and he loves the food, right? Yeah? Okay. One of the greatest things about Mark, and you can see where he gets it from, he's very inspiring and full of love, and his family is what brings that to him. I've had a chance to spend a lot of time with his family, and there's just nothing but love there. Now, Mark, what makes Mark so cool is he loves music, and this young man here can play 4 instruments. He can play the accordion, the saxophone, the guitar, and the piano. He loves God, he loves his church, and he has a big, strong faith in Jesus Christ. His best days in America, he says, are at his church. One thing that he hates, and I can spend a lot of time with him, I know how much he hates, is he hates when people get ugly and mean and start fighting. He really can't stand seeing another kid at school pick on another child as well. Mark has a very bold courage that is shown through his love. If you ever do anything nice for this young man, do not be surprised if you are received with a letter of appreciation from him or from his family. So what makes him so inspiring, all right? For the last few years, I've had the duty at Choctaw High School of watching the schoolyard at lunch to make sure that it's a safe environment. And Mark, for the last 3 years, has been by my side every single day. And while he's there, he's always encouraging others. He's picking up other students' trash, he's holding doors open, and he's even helping me with, against my will, stop schoolyard fights. We've only had a few, but the few I've had, I've told him, stay here, and I go, and next thing you know, I'm trying to break up a fight, and he's right there with me to make sure I don't get hurt. All right? His sister and my daughter played on a softball team together, and even despite learning English, he helped me keep score through the whole season. One of his biggest challenges that he overcame was when he came from Russia, he knew absolutely no English at all. So everything he knows, his ability to communicate and be successful in school, he's learned starting at Meigs Middle School, being taught by, he attributes his ability to learn English by a teacher named Miss Bailey. Now, Mark has overcome numerous physical and medical challenges, some vision impairment, hearing disabilities. He's overcome 10 surgeries. And one of his biggest challenges is to succeed in high school. But this year, Mark will be graduating Choctawhatchee High School as a senior with a 2.9 GPA. And in our program, he's volunteered 32.5 community service hours. He's represented the Corps and Choctaw at every single football game by holding our guide on. He provided a drum beat for our Full on Beach holiday parade where 225 cadets marched for 3 miles to his cadence in step. And at our last military ball, he played Amazing Grace on the accordion. He attributes a lot of his success in junior ROTC to Chief Washington and Major Bates. Mark is not done yet. He's just getting started. He has a passion for music, and he is accepted and plans to attend Gulf Coast State College next year, where he'll be majoring in music. And that is why this mighty beast here is our Cox Inspirational Student Hero.
Zachary JINES is the 2018 hero from Crestview High School, and Stephanie Mercer will give us the details.
It is my great honor to, I had nominated him for the Cox Hero Award because it fills me with pride to have a student who looks beyond his own needs to provide help and support for others. Zachary is the first person there to, if anybody needs any help, he is there to help those people. He will come and ask me quietly, because he doesn't want to embarrass or call out any other students. He'll ask me, Miss Mercer, can I go help so-and-so? I'm like, Zachary, that'd be fine. Go ahead and help them, because he doesn't want to call them out, make them feel really bad, or feel like they don't know something. He has great leadership qualities, because he is known to be the voice for those who cannot stand up for themselves, and he shows true respect and gratitude for everyone. If he knows of anyone who has been mistreated, anyone who's being bullied, he will stand up for them. He will come and quietly inform one of us adults or the resource officer. He'll say, hey, there's someone in the lunchroom who's been picked on. Can you see if somebody can take care of that for me? Because he doesn't want anybody to be picked on. Also, with that, he avoids any confrontations, and he works to find peaceful solutions for everyone. So he will go and talk with his friends. He's the peacemaker for everyone. And you see this smile right here? This smile, this positive attitude. And every morning I'm greeted. Told you I was going to tell this. Every morning I'm greeted. He'll say, good morning, Miss Mercer. And he will say, your favorite student is here. And I will say, Zachary, I'm a teacher. I'm not supposed to have favorite students. You can't say that. And he's like, oh, but Miss Mercer, I'm your favorite student. And every day I see that he'll walk by my room often. And the thing is, with Zachary, I've had the privilege and honor to watch him grow up. I had Zachary when he was a tiny little guy about this size. All he was arms and legs. little tiny guy with blonde, spiky hair. I had him for first and second grade. So I had the privilege of teaching him with everything in first and second grade. Then I transferred to high school. Lo and behold, a few years later, this young man was standing in front of me, and he's like, "You remember me?" I'm like, "Wait a second. This is not this little guy that I had in first and second grade. This is a young man in front of me with this big smile." And he was always so happy. He's like, "Yep, it's me." And the reason why I really chose him, not only his leadership qualities, him standing up for everyone and stuff, he loves computer skills, and he wants to be a computer programming. He has, is it 4 or 5? 4. He has 4 certifications, regular certifications in any of these things. He wants to be a computer programming. He has a 3.3 GPA. He has high anxiety. He doesn't like crowds. He doesn't like to really deal with the chaos. Our high schools are very, very large. He overcomes that challenge every day. When he was younger, he was very withdrawn. Now he gravitates toward groups, and he wants to be that, not the center of attention, but he wants to be there involved with everyone. And the thing is, with the 3.3 GPA and he's earning all these certifications, he also has high-functioning autism. And if you just looked at Zachary and you see how he, everything he does, you would not be able to know that he even has this. So that's why I wanted to nominate him for everything he does every day for myself and for all the other students. So.
Davidson Middle School's Manuel Rincon, will now be introduced by Tammy Portillo.
Good afternoon. I'm introducing Manuel, and he's Davidson's inspirational Cox hero. Imagine leaving the only life you knew and get put down right in Crestview, Florida. It was a bit of a shock, I think, but he's really come around, and not only that, he's really excelled. He came to the United States in 2016 as a refugee from the violence that's in Venezuela. We all know about that. He didn't know any English. He was a little behind in some subjects, but boy, has he come back. This year he took geometry as an 8th grader and is very successful. He's an AB honor roll student. He's on the baseball team. He's been on the soccer team, helping with the soccer team. He enjoys learning, and he doesn't take it for granted. His biggest complaint are the students that don't do or won't do, and he says, how can they waste so much education when it's available? Not only does he work hard in school, when he doesn't understand something, he volunteers to stay after school and gets the help he needs. He shares his poetry and his songs with us, and you'd think he'd write them in Spanish, but no, he wants his English to be better, so he writes them in English and shares those with us. He always is helpful and always is kind to everyone. He is the center of attention and gets the students on his side to work harder in school. He helps them in classes where they're struggling. And so this is our Cox hero for Davidson.
Cherie Martin is going to come up front with our next hero, Patrick Enriquez from Destin Elementary School.
Hi, Patrick has come such a long way in his short years at Destin Elementary. While he appeared to have many cards stacked against him, and his behaviors were far less than desirable, he simply needed someone who believed in him. Patrick came to us as a ball of anger, a ball of frustration. He was like a volcano in his early years at Destin Elementary, and we never knew when he was going to erupt, but many felt it, and many knew when that eruption took place. This year was definitely a turning point for Patrick, with a few bonus points added to his application simply for his potential and the small efforts he was making. Patrick became one of our junior deputies. This posse, this group, is part of our elite leadership team at Destin Elementary for our 4th graders. He's found his purpose in that position. He's excelled since joining these ranks. He now goes out of his way to serve others, both in his class and outside. He helps the custodians on the ramps and in the cafeteria. He helps the younger kids get to class. He's truly a model for other students. I believe it's because of the relationships that were built with this sweet young man, the patience, the persistence, and efforts of his DES pod, the partnerships built with his sweet mother, and the unwavering commitment by many that Patrick is capable and worthy of this success. I can't wait to see what the future has in store for this fine young man. Patrick is truly an example of overcoming barriers to reach your full potential and not letting circumstances define your future. As an assistant principal, I've had the pleasure to watch Patrick grow since first grade, and now he's a fourth grader. We're so proud to present to you Patrick ENRIQUEZ as Destin Elementary's hero.
Zane Bennett is our hero from Destin Middle School, and he will be introduced by Grant Meyer.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to congratulate each of the Cox heroes that are in here. You truly are an inspiration, and I love hearing your stories. Our nominee is Zane Bennett. He's an 8th grader at Destin Middle School. This was his first year at Destin Middle School, and middle school in itself is hard enough. But him and his family moved from Georgia. He has a twin sister who's in the 9th grade. I think this is the first year that they were actually not at the same school. But Zane truly is an inspiration. When we decided who our nominees were going to be, Zane was the clear favorite. His positive attitude and his relationships with the people in the school are amazing. I get to spend a lot of time with Zane. I'm out on the car rider ramp each afternoon, and that's where Zane and I get to kind of hang out and talk boy stuff, country music and hunting and all those fun things, while his mother has to pick up his sister from Fort Walton and make it back through Destin in the afternoon is hard enough. But I really get to spend some quality time with Zane, and I want to say to him, he has personally touched me this year, probably more than you realize. He gets my sense of humor. He knows when I'm messing with him, and he always puts a smile on my face as well. And last thing, anytime he walks into a room, I mess with him. I say, don't be walking in here big and bad. But Zane, you can walk through here big and bad, and the rest of your life you walk through it big and bad, okay? Zane Bennett, Destin Middle School.
And coming to the front now is Rex Hardy. He's from Edge Elementary School, and he's being introduced by Donna Peters and Debbie Gardner.
Good afternoon. Well, we got a lot of stuff written here about Rex, but it is our honor to introduce Rex Hardy. Rex is new to our Edge family this year, and Rex walked in, and if I had to talk about Rex, I would say he's compassionate, he's friendly, he's resilient. He's had some tough stuff happen this year, and he walked in. If you walked in right now, it would seem like he's been at Edge since kindergarten. He walked in with an open heart, with an open mind, and he's friends with everybody. Everybody loves Rex. They really do. As Ms. Gardner and I were thinking about what we could say and write about Rex, we said, well, he's just all heart. He's warm-hearted, he's tender-hearted, he's kind-hearted. And, even with some of the struggles that Rex has faced this year, he remained gracious and still friendly and wonderful to everybody. He walks in with a smile on his face. I know I'm not going to get just one hug. I'm going to get a whole lot of hugs before the day is out. And the thing is he is always worried about me. He wants to know, how are you really? How are you? Did you have a good weekend? Did you go do what you said you were going to do? He really is genuine. He really wants to know how I am, and he treats his classmates the same way. A lot of tenacity with Rex. I'm the math teacher, so I can tell you he's a master mathematician right now. He's a great problem solver. I just got to get him to show his work, but that'll come. but he is a great mathematician, and you know, we're just so proud of him, and he's a friend to everyone. He comes in with a smile, and even with his adversity this year that Ms. Gardner's going to talk to you about, he has still come in every day, and he has still been just the greatest part of my day. So I think Ms. Gardner's going to talk to you a little bit too about what Rex has gone through this year.
Well, Rex came to us from Panama City. This is his first year at Edge Elementary. He came here during the summer to stay with his father's family because his mother, well, for their annual visit. He ended up staying because his mother was diagnosed with cancer. So during the summer, when he was visiting his family, they ended up saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and put him in Edge Elementary. So he stayed at Edge Elementary, and like she said, you would not know that he had not been there before. Unfortunately, his mother's battle with cancer ended in February, and he never missed a beat. The kids were so surprised when we had to tell them why he'd been out for several weeks. And he's such an inspiration with his resiliency. He's a fourth grader that's just amazing, and all the students look up to him because he's so kind and compassionate and always thinking about others instead of himself.
Edwin Elementary School's Marcelina Castor is next, and Michelle Coyle will tell us what makes her special.
Hi, I'm Michelle Coyle. I'm a speech-language therapist at Edwin Elementary, and this is Marcelina Castor. She's our hero because she definitely knows what it is to be a struggling student and to overcome that. When she started kindergarten, I remember one of the first meetings with her mom, and we talked about how Marcelina had just learned to talk when she was 5. So when I started being her speech-language therapist, she had to overcome a very severe speech impairment. She was one of those children that you could not understand. So she has overcome that, and she's graduated from speech. She also had a language impairment from the delay of not talking. And a language impairment really is a very specific type of a learning disability, and it makes it very hard for those children to achieve things in school. Learning to read is usually very hard for them. And Marcelina definitely felt that, and she knew what it was like to struggle. But you couldn't tell it because she never gave up, ever. I've never seen a child work so hard, always with a smile on her face, try so hard, persevere. Other students that fall behind, sometimes they start to give up, but not Marcelina. She just always kept working and always kept trying, and is just so helpful and thoughtful as well. And so she, as I said, she knew what it was like to be a struggling student, and she even has a retention under her belt as she's continued to gain skills and gain skills. And this year in 4th grade, she has experienced what it feels like to be on the AB honor roll. So she's gone from a student failing, just learning to talk in kindergarten, to a student who's now on AB honor roll. And so she is my speech and language hero for sure. It's been my pleasure to be her speech and language therapist and watch her grow and watch these things happen for her. And her language has increased so much that it's now above the average range. And she's such a well-rounded student too. She's also a ballerina, and she was just in the Nutcracker Ballet. She was a gingerbread cookie, which was perfect for her because they do not come any sweeter than Marcelina. She, you know, and then after I nominated her for this, you know, she's just continues to do amazing things. We had a talent show at Edwin's, and she was the MC. So this child who you couldn't understand when she was in kindergarten and was barely talking was the MC of the entire talent show to introduce everybody that was in the talent show and ran the whole thing. She's also just been named the deputy of our safety patrol, and that is because she is a leader, always. She's one of the top leaders at our school. She always wants to help other students. She wants to be the one that is there helping everyone around her. She's a delight to have in class. All of her teachers will tell you the same, that she is the hardest working student they've ever seen. That's definitely my Marcelina. But because this is overcoming a communication disorder, I think you need to hear from her. What makes her so special? What would you like to say, Marcelina? Come on.
I'm thankful for my teachers helping me learn how to speak.
Elliott Point's Kathy Ard will now turn the spotlight on their hero, Pedro Davila.
I'm pleased to introduce Elliott Point's Cox Hero this year. This is Pedro Davila. His classroom teacher, Miss Mays, has nominated him. Pedro is a 5th grade student that started in the Varying Exceptionality program in 3rd grade. When he began his VE education, he could not read yet. He didn't know how to do any word problems in math yet. He could not write any words other than his name yet. He was frustrated, and consequently his behavior, we'll say, was unruly. How about that? Halfway through the 4th grade, Pedro realized the value of an education and decided he wanted to learn to read. He has worked so hard to master the basic reading skills, and now he can read or sound out most of the words in his books and in his math problems. With his fantastic imagination, he can write the most amazing stories, and he even helps the younger students when they get stuck. It hasn't been easy for Pedro. He had very low self-esteem when he started the VE program. He would call himself stupid, say he couldn't do things, say he would never be able to read, and ask what the point was. He didn't want to try because he didn't think he could succeed. Well, that all changed when the teacher started breaking things into little bits and he started feeling a little bit of success. He had a taste of success, and he has flown since then. Pedro has a huge dream for the future. He wants to own, because that's better than renting, a beautiful house in a great neighborhood on the water. He wants to drive a nice car with all the bells and whistles. He's not sure he wants to do yet, but it will be something that pays well. Maybe he will even own his own company. He is willing to work hard, so he should go far. Pedro is also a talented athlete. Not only is he quick, he has become patient. This year he taught another student who always felt left out how to play basketball. He enjoys the smiles on the other boy's face when he dribbles the ball or makes a shot. He sees the value in helping others. And here's something that Pedro doesn't know. His teacher just told me he has just made the A honor roll for the whole school year. Our lives are better because we have Pedro in it. He brings a lot of laughter to our school. He's always happy. Anytime anyone passes him in the hallway, he's always saying hello, good morning, and he always wants to help. And he likes to copy some of his teacher has some funny little sayings, and sometimes when maybe she's frustrated, he'll throw those back at her, like, take a chill pill, or you can get glad just as you got mad, right? Mr. Pedro Davila.
Matthew DeHart is the hero from Florosa Elementary School, and Rosia Khan will share more.
Good afternoon. Let me pull this down. Good afternoon. We are extremely proud to honor Matthew DeHart as Florosa's Cox Hero. He has been at our school since kindergarten, and he is now a 5th grader. The young man that you see standing here is a completely different young man than when he began, and we are so very proud of you, Matthew. The attributes teachers at Florosa use to describe Matthew are: he's kind-hearted, he's a great friend, he's determined, he's hardworking, he has a gentle spirit, and he is dedicated to being the best Matthew he can be. Matthew perseveres through difficult tasks. He has overcome many obstacles, but he understands that his education will propel him forward in life. We are proud to honor Matthew DeHart as our Cox Hero winner. So when we told Matthew that he was the Cox Hero winner, he wrote his own acceptance speech that I will be reading to you. Hi, I'm Matthew. Thank you for this honor. I want to honor my teachers at Okaloosa Elementary who taught me. I want to thank my parents for always being there for me, especially because every time I go home, they are always proud of me. I'm looking forward to moving on to Bruner Middle School. Thank you all. Matthew DeHart.
Nico Bryant is the Fort Walton Beach High School Viking hero. Dr. Linda Dugan will tell us why.
Good afternoon. Just like what you saw, he brings smiles to your faces in the moment that he walks into the room. So I didn't bring a prepared speech. I sent that in and my colleague didn't give it back. So I'm going to talk right from the heart because he's easy to talk about. Nico Bryant is one of probably the best, most inspirational students that we have at Fort Walton Beach High School. I can remember last year he went through a very difficult experience. His stepfather passed away. In high school, and as Coach Myers said, middle school's tough, but high school's even tougher. His father is here today, and his grandmother is here today, and his girlfriend is here today because of support for this young man. So not only did he go through a passing last year of the loss of a stepfather, but this fine young man that was a warrior on the football field, an athlete in the basketball coliseum, every time that he had a game or a practice and he would get through or prior to, he would go visit his grandmother, who is here today, who has had a diagnosis of stage 4 cancer, to make sure that she was okay before he played. His inner strength and his outer strength were motivators, not just to his family, but to us as faculty, as well as students. Nico Bryant has been recruited to play football at the next level. He didn't have the test scores. He's fought hard. We're waiting right now to get the last results so he can continue to fulfill the dream that his grandmother, his father, his girlfriend, and his mother dreamed about. Nico Bryant is an inspiration. I'm going to leave you with something that I asked him to text right before he came up here. This is the type of student that Nico is. Mr. Spolsky, my principal, and I had said, give us 3 things. Tell us about you. I love my family dearly and want nothing but the best to succeed and make them happy. He walked on to here, waving to you to make sure that you were happy. That's the way Nico is. I'd like to further my career playing football at the next level. And what's really unique is his brother won this exact award last year. I am proud as his counselor, on behalf of Mr. Spolsky and Fort Walton Beach High School, to give you one of the most inspirational scholar athletes, top 20% in the class, Mr. Nico Bryant.
I got the butterflies. First off, I'd like to thank Dr. Dugan. I'd like to thank Mrs. Spolsky for always being there for me when everything got tough. And I'd like to thank every one of y'all for coming and supporting each and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico. ASHLIN Ryan is our hero from Kenwood Elementary School, and Joan Picard will now introduce her.
Some kids touch many more lives than they will ever know. ASHLIN is one of those kids. Here are a few of the quotes from staff at Kenwood. It has been a while since she was my kindergarten sweetie. However, although she had some pacing and mobility issues in keeping up with her peers, her intelligence was far superior, just slower to verbally respond. She was a perfectionist at the young age of 5, and although it took her longer, she would work tirelessly on any task at hand until it was the picture of perfection. Her smile melted my heart, and I have zero memories of her complaining or being disinterested in any learning. She has a permanent spot in my heart. Kim McDonald, kindergarten teacher. ASHLIN is a strong-spirited young lady that works hard in the classroom and has demonstrated the ability to overcome the challenges that life has presented her. She possesses a mental toughness that is recognized by her parents, peers, and teachers as uncharacteristic and unique for a student her age. ASHLIN's positive attitude and willingness to persevere has inspired all that have had the pleasure of meeting her. She has an amazing sense of humor and a smile that lights up a room in a matter of seconds. Mrs. Herbert, second grade teacher. ASHLIN is one of the most determined and hardworking students I have. I have had ASHLIN since second grade and have never once heard her complain. I started noticing ASHLIN's fine motor skills and endurance lessening towards the end of her second grade year. When she came back the next year, it was obvious she was going to have some adversities to overcome in physical education. During all this time, she never once backed down from a challenge and constantly wanted to push herself to strive and complete any task asked of her. Her attitude is one that I wish all my students carried. Along with her courageous demeanor, she is so pleasant to be around with one of the most contagious laughs. She comes every day with a smile on her face and will always have a special place in my heart, Coach Crossley. And I've got one more. Despite ASHLIN's difficulties with balance and coordination, she loves to participate in all competitive PE games. Oftentimes, playing so long and hard, she returns to class physically exhausted. She never asks to sit out of difficult PE tasks and advocates for her preferred type of assistance in completing the given task. She can be quiet at times, however, she has a great sense of humor and the most beautiful laugh. She is a joy to work with every day. Ms. Freeman, Adaptive Physical Education. ASHLIN has touched the hearts of many others at Kenwood. It gives me great pleasure to be able to be here with her and her family tonight. Thank you.
Laurel Hill Schools, Patience Heath, is our next hero, and Kimberly Chandler will tell us why.
What's a hero? A hero is a person noted for courageous acts or noble character. This describes Patience Heath. For Laurel Hill School, Patience is an inspiration. She has a specific learning disability which makes many tasks in learning very difficult, but she has tackled these challenges and persevered like never before. She embraces where she's at and pushes forward in life's adventures with a very positive outlook. She's blossomed into a respectful, exuberant, and successful young lady. Her self-confidence has soared while remaining humble, and she wears a joyful disposition. Patience isn't content with just being all right. She wants to excel in her classes, to the point other students want to emulate her lead. She is on the AB honor roll. She has set a personal goal to score level 4 or higher on her math FSA, and is a member of the cheerleading squad with an exuberant hobo spirit, and loves softball. Despite tearing her ACL, which ended with knee surgery, she never complained. She was humble and upbeat about her prognosis. Perhaps where she shines the brightest is her willingness to help others. Often in her learning strategies class, she can be found helping others with their work, offering kind words of encouragement, coming up with ideas of starting a club for art and archery. Patience is also a junior volunteer firefighter. This isn't too surprising, as this was modeled by her parents and her older brother, who also are volunteer firefighters. Hope you know how much we appreciate you, Patience, and your family, and seeing where you lead your future. Thank you.
Lewis School selected Colin Smith as their hero, and Teresa Miller will share his story.
Good
Caring, respectful, cooperative, patient, hardworking, self-driven, and inspiring. Those are the words that his teachers use to describe him every day, but what Colin doesn't know is when we sent him on an errand today, which we really didn't need him to do, we wanted that time to ask his students or his fellow classmates what character traits they would use to describe Colin. And this is what they said: thoughtful, intelligent, persevering, helpful, friendly, awesome, and one of a kind. The list went on, but those were the top character traits for Colin. Now I'd like to tell you why. Colin looks and acts like any other ordinary third grade student in my class, but what makes him extraordinary is the way that he perseveres in the classroom despite his hearing aids and his continued loss of hearing. Colin is always ready to help another student with their learning or share in their successes. He's the first one to clap or to yell yay when somebody adds more stars to their reading chart or turns in their homework. He is just excited for the little things. It's interesting because as the year went on, his reading started dipping a little bit, and which made him very upset because he is very type A. He is very concerned with his learning and doesn't like to see any of the grades dip down. But what we started was a new strategy where he started signing while he was doing his cold reads, which for a teacher was amazing because you're looking at these students and they're silently reading and you're wondering how many of them are really reading. And then I look over at Colin and I go, he's reading. I know exactly when he stops, when he pauses, and when he goes back and does it again. So it was amazing because just by engaging his hands and him signing silently to himself while he was reading, it actually kept him more engaged and those scores started going up. So I'd love to teach every child in my class sign language and chart. But that's another year, not this year. But anyways, back to Colin. His friendly, outgoing nature and willingness to show everyone how his microphone works immediately puts all of his peers and new students at ease. They see how hardworking he is in class. They see how he struggles and what he has to overcome to communicate and to understand verbal language, whether it's a video or another classmate or the intercom. And they immediately, it inspires them to work harder. When I put new students at his table, it's interesting. They can be students that are underachieving at another table, but when they come over to Colin's table, all of a sudden a little light goes on and they work a little harder. And it has nothing to do with the table or me, but it has to do with Colin and the fact that he's there at that table, which is pretty amazing. He's very independent and he likes to achieve things on his own without any help. He's been known to put his hand up to his interpreter to stop them if he doesn't think that he needs help. Am I right, Colin? Yeah. It's Colin's strong desire to learn, his will to succeed, and optimism that makes him an inspiration to everyone who meets him and a pleasure for every teacher to teach. We at Lewis School couldn't think of a more deserving student for this award, and we can't wait to see what he accomplishes with us in the future.
Joining our next hero, Crisby Keche, at the podium is Wendy Joyner.
I want to first start by thanking Mrs. Hoot, Crisby's mom, and also thanking the school district and Cox Communications for giving us this opportunity to honor inspirational students. So I have with me my teammate, Ruby Yakovich, and we are going to share a little bit about why Crisby is so inspirational. Coming from Guatemala with his family, to make a better way of life. His mom's working very hard to give him the best that she can. And there's some things that Crisby shared with us this school year that touched us both professionally and personally. And this young man is outstanding. His positivity in the face of tragedy and challenges makes us all feel great about what we get to do every day and gives us a reason for coming in because of the kids that are there. Crisby's family has been touched by tragedy in the same way that our families have been touched by tragedy, and that's through homicide. And so all three of us share that same connection, and we also share a connection that Crisby told us when he wrote this story and drew a lot of pictures. And he said, you know, when I grow up, I want to sit at a big desk, and I want to look down on all the little people, and I want to be a teacher, and I can help all of those little people. And so all three of us wanted to be teachers, and I think that Crisby's starting to inspire other students, because one day a student came in who's his soccer buddy, and I said, Fernando, how did you learn to read? And Fernando's been in the country less than a year, and he said, Crisby taught me to read. So Crisby's already becoming a teacher, whether he knows it or not. We're very proud to have him here with us, and we thank you for this opportunity. I think Crisby, being an ELL student, shows that you should never give up, you persevere and set goals for yourselves. And I think that he'd like to share some of the things that he's appreciative of, because he's very proud that he's learned English this school year, and he can read and write and do things that he wasn't able to do before. So I think I'll let him speak for himself.
I want to thank my mom for working hard and never give up and give me a good life, and thank you, Cox Hero Award.
While they're doing that, I would like to call Mary Esther Elementary School's Cheyenne Gibbons up to the stage, and she will be introduced by Jayle Harlow.
Hello everyone, my name is Jayle Harlow, and I had the privilege of teaching 5th grade at Mary Esther Elementary this year. Whenever I think about a Cox hero, I think about a role model. And a role model is somebody you and I both know we look up to. A role model is somebody who encompasses the same traits and skills that you wish to instill within yourself. And for many to most people, a role model is somebody who is much older than you are, but not in my case. You see, she speaks with a wisdom that is beyond her years, and she has faced every single hardship with so much grace, whether it's her mom being in a car accident last year and healing through the process this year, or caring unconditionally for her special needs siblings. Happy birthday, Shane. It's an honor for me to introduce my role model, Cheyenne Gibbons.
Juan Bush is our next hero, and Miss Michelle Heck will tell us what makes him special.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. It is definitely my distinct pleasure to be among all of our heroes here today, as well as introduce to you Meigs Middle School inspirational hero, Juan Bush. Juan Bush is an exemplar for resiliency and determination. As you notice, he's not here today with me. Juan was diagnosed with brain cancer recently, and he's currently at St. Jude's receiving treatment. This is an ongoing part of his routine. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about Juan. He is, as I said, filled with resiliency. In all areas of his life, Juan meets tasks and challenges head on. He sets goals, always with a positive outlook. He faces challenges and obstacles on a regular basis, and he perseveres through all of it. His attitude with everything is so simple, surprisingly simple. He just tackles it, and he'll tell you that every day. I'll just handle it. He has the spirit of a warrior, but wants to be seen as one who is very healthy amongst his peers. Even in the throes of his battle with brain cancer, Juan works hard to be the best version of himself, both in and out of school. Earlier this year, Juan was concerned with the effect of his cancer treatment and being out of school often, and making sure that he maintained his high academic grades, as he likes to always focus on, by advocating for himself with school staff, with teachers. He was always able to just step aside and say, what should I do next? Or how should I handle this problem? Or what's going to happen when I'm out of school? So he has this circle of support, and he always seems to find a solution for anything that comes his way. Juan has had to receive several rounds of treatments for his cancer. Sometimes the treatments keep him out of school for extended amounts of time, as this week is the case. The time away from classes and friends and extracurricular activities never hinders Juan. Despite the obstacles, Juan has maintained his high academic standing amongst his 8th grade peers and across his time at MEGS. And he continues unbelievably to compete compete at the national level on his cheer team. He is phenomenal. In fact, just last weekend, he spent an extended amount of time in Orlando with his cheer team. I don't know how he balances life filled with cancer and that, and yet he does it with grace, and he does it with such resiliency. I know I've said that word before. Some of the side effects of treatment that Juan's received includes a decrease in stamina and minor difficulty remembering things. I think that's understandable. The side effects that Juan has endured on occasion are never apparent to his peers. Juan dedicates time every single day to assist people in our school. You see, he is my office aide. So he, along with my 3 secretaries, are the face of MEGS. So he is the first one to welcome our parents and our visitors. He can do almost anything in the front office, which is scary. And so he stands ready to help every guest that comes into MEGS. In addition to that, he is constantly assisting our librarian who helps tutor some of our students, and Juan is her right-hand man, helping tutoring struggling students after school. He is amazing, he is inspirational, and for that reason, he is MEGS's inspirational hero.
Logan Sundrum Howell is our next hero, and Charlie Morello will tell us what makes this Eagle special.
Logan is an excellent example of someone who doesn't let a challenge be a roadblock to success. Coach Strutchen, one of Logan's teachers, points out that Logan always has a positive attitude, works well with others, and he has stayed on the AB honor roll all year and has a 3.5 grade point average. Logan looks forward to graduating from Niceville High School, so much so that he was committed to completing nearly 2 years' worth of coursework this year, and I very much look forward to handing him that diploma next Thursday night at graduation. Logan's perseverance and resiliency should serve as a model for all students with exceptionalities. I proudly present to you Logan Sundstrom Howell, the Niceville High School Cox Student Hero.
Isaiah Cook is the hero from Okaloosa STEM, and Rosemarie Morris will tell us what makes him a hero.
Isaiah is all boy. Active, athletic, mixed martial arts, climbing trees, according to his mom, was one of his favorite activities. A fine scholar, accepted the STEM Academy, and then he accepted the challenge of our highly accelerated advanced curriculum and came in 6th grade beginning of this year. And then, boom, excruciating pain, medical symptoms I won't just tell you about. Psychological stress of not knowing for weeks and months and being poked and prodded and tested and not knowing and worrying. And then we have a solution that made things worse. And dealing with all of that, months later when he returned to STEM, he was still using a walker, but I noticed that if he needed to get up like from his seat, just like to go a little ways, he wouldn't use it. He was constantly pushing himself. And that was only, what, maybe a week and a half he used that? Because he was constantly working to get stronger. He also came back into he's a 6th grader, 7th grade advanced math class and never missed a beat. Into his high school credit science class. Hasn't missed a beat. All of this by his own persistence and will. And that's so inspirational to his teachers and to his classmates.
Plough Elementary named Dennis Clark hero, and Carolyn McAllister will tell us why.
Good afternoon. I am proud to introduce to you Dennis Clark, a fourth grade student at Plough Elementary. His fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Duran, describes Dennis this way. This kid is seriously amazing. He is a shining star. He is always wearing a smile on his face. He quietly encourages the best in others in his classroom. In the library, he politely opens the door for others and uses his perfect manners when on our campus. Dennis is a student who has previously struggled in school and lacked drive and ambition. But this year, he has done a complete 180. He is the most hard-working student, always trying his very best. He pays attention in class and is always the role model for behavior. He is polite, kind-hearted, and shows integrity in all he does. I am so proud, as is his teacher, of how far he has come and cannot wait to see what the future holds for Dennis. His future, we know, is very bright. He's an exceptional student, and we are proud of our Cox hero and star Plough Panther, Dennis Clark.
Deborah Eller of Ruckle Middle School will now introduce us to Mary Louise Dodson.
Okay, there we go. Mary Louise came to Ruckle Middle School from Blue Water Elementary, and she was an SLD student who really struggled in the classroom, really was scared her first year as a sixth grader, a little bit timid, a little bit shy, but she took us by storm. As a sixth grader, she went from a level 2 reader to a level 4 reader. I was so proud of her that year. She worked really, really hard. She decided in sixth grade that she was going to become a doctor one day, and she was determined. This year, as an eighth grader, I've had the pleasure of teaching her all 3 years, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And this year, she was determined she was going to pay her way on our 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. And she set out last year as a 7th grader to do just that. And Mary Louise was able to maintain the AB honor roll as an SLD student, taking advanced classes. Very proud of her. She earned her money, $2,000, on her own to make the trip to D.C. And she's worked really, really hard this year to stay on the AB honor roll. 2 of the quarters, she made solid A's and was very proud of herself. This last grading period, she had a B, and she just about died over that, but she's forgiven herself, I believe, since then. She's also a volunteer in our media center. She works checking books in and out while she's in my learning strategies class for about 45 minutes. She absolutely loves doing that. She likes working with other students. She reads constantly. Oftentimes, I have to tell her, please leave your book in the classroom. You don't need to take it to the lunchroom with you. That's to save the books, not necessarily to protect her, because she's going to read no matter what. She is an avid reader. She's a great student. She's an inspiration to her peers. Today, during class, while she was out, several of her peers wrote a little note to me saying, when you get to the Cox Heroes Awards, we want you to say this. We want you to say, Mary Louise is an inspiration not just to Mrs. Eller, but to her peers as well. She's been tutoring one of my students that struggles with autism in math. She's really great at math, and she has a way of explaining herself very well. And she would like to say something today, which really surprised me. So, Mary Louise Dodson, 8th grader, soon to be an Eagle at Niceville High School.
I owe everything to my mother, my father, my stepfather, and my family, because they made me who I am today. My parents pushed me to be who I am and to work as hard as I can. My family, they mean everything to me, and they taught me that fear is just another reason to try harder. So when I was always scared, I always pushed myself to do it, even though I did like this. Like I did not know I was going to speak, but I pushed myself to do it.
Thank you, Mary Louise. Shalimar Elementary School names Trinity Davis a hero, and Kim McSparrow will tell us why.
Hello, this is Trinity Davis, and she is currently a third grader at Shalimar. And I can't believe she's standing still right now because she is a very, very energetic young lady. Yes? As a second grader, she was always, I was the one at Trinity, stop skipping, Trinity, stand still. But she was always in the office, or in my office, or with a stomach ache. So I'd call her mom, call her dad, and they're like, nope, there's nothing wrong. She's going to stay at school. And sure enough, she'd say, okay, I feel better. I'm going back out. So that continued on started about halfway through last year. And towards the end of the year, we started noticing it was more frequent that she was coming. And by the time she got home, she was good to go, went outside playing. So end of school came last year. And the day after school was out, into summer, her parents said, well, let's take her in. She'd already been in, so they took her in because she woke up and her stomach was really hurting one night. And then we're really glad they did because we found out that Trinity had liver cancer. And she was 8, and we're like, how, what? But got past that, and her mom and dad and I had a lot of conversations about how much more resilient kids are and how much stronger they are. And she proved that to all of us over the course of the summer and the first part of this year, where she was at St. Jude's for a while. And where else did you tell me? Where was your other? University of Florida. Underwent several 4 or 5 rounds of chemo, worked through that. She had several surgeries, removed part of her liver. And then she stayed home for the first semester with a homebound instructor. But she was ready to come back. And it didn't matter that her treatments made her sick, and she was home, and she was weak. She persevered, and she wanted to learn, and she maintained an AB honor roll and maintained A's and B's all through that process. And she came back ready to go before Christmas, but the doctor said, you got to wait. So she waited until after Christmas break to come back to us. She welcomes opportunities to talk to others about her cancer and is more than willing to answer questions and be able to share that with her friends at school. She's our hero because of her optimism for her family. She's just a beacon of light through everything that she's been through to all of us, and especially her family. And when she came back to school, she rocked the no hair hairstyle. She didn't mess with a hat. She didn't mess with a scarf. She just came to school, smiled the whole time, answered questions, continued to skip and jump around in the hall. So we are really proud of her. She's maintained. She goes back for a scan next week. Okay, so we're going to see how that goes next week. But she wants to say a few words. But this is Trinity Davis, our inspirational hero. Come over here, baby. I got it.
Hi, I'm Trinity Davis, and I'm a cancer survivor. I had undifferentiated embryonal sarcoma of the liver. So, the whole reason I came up here was to give my family and friends a special thanks, and to say if you ever have cancer, all you have to do is believe, fight, I forgot the other one, and have faith in yourself.
Which you did. Okay, thank you. That's Trinity. Thank you. You did a great job. I'm so proud of you. Okay, you ready?
Silver Sands School is happy to name Abby Frizzell as their 2018 Cox Hero. John Williams will tell us her story.
Abby is Silver Sands Student Hero because of the amazing personal gains she has made in learning to communicate with the world around her. You see, Abby transferred to our school communicating in non-conventional means, which is related to her diagnosis with autism. If you ask what non-conventional communication means, essentially it begins as a nonverbal communicator. But when you're nonverbal and you do not get what you need or you want, and you also have a very strong mind, you're very strong-minded like Abby is, you find a way to let people know what you want. But those ways are to the extreme, such as self-injury, injury to others, screaming, throwing. That used to be the only way Abby would communicate with us. After only a year at Silver Sand School and under the guidance of our staff, and especially her teacher, Miss Maggie Downs, our Teacher of the Year, and through lots of support from her mother, Caitlin, who's with us today. Thank you, Caitlin. Abby communicates amazingly well and is showing us that she has long understood and learned more than people ever realized. She continues to learn and grow and is now reading, knows all of her colors, and can tell you exactly which one she wants to color her rabbits and cats with. She is a wonderful artist, and she now welcomes others to interact closely with her. Previously, she used to not allow anyone to touch or be around her in close proximity. Obviously, you can see that's changed quite a bit. So she struggles a lot with sensory overload and does have meltdowns related to her lack of, or her difficulty in communicating what she needs and likes and wants. But she does that better now, utilizing some of the alternative communication means that we've been working with her on. And we have far less meltdowns and far less self-injurious behavior. A conversation with Abby will leave you mesmerized with her intellect, despite the challenges she has faced with autism. We are very proud of the progress Abby has made and can't wait to see what a model she will be to the education community about how capable children are with autism. To quote her teacher, Miss Downs, she is truly amazing and brilliant. Abby Frizzell. Thank you. You want to say thank you?
Say thank you.
You say, tell them thank you.
Thank you. Ready to go?
Walker Elementary School's Bianca Lafata will now be introduced by Elizabeth Springle.
Good afternoon. I'm Elizabeth Springle and represent Walker Elementary School. I've had the privilege of teaching Bianca for 2 years, last year in 4th and now in 5th. 5th grade has been full of barriers for Bianca, but she has overcome all of them. Bianca exudes incredible strength. At a young age, she was diagnosed with vision problems by an optometrist. Through that diagnosis, she was given the highest prescription possible for her glasses. At the beginning of her 5th grade year, she began to experience severe eye pain that brought her to tears most days. The severe pain left Bianca with headaches and problems focusing on her work. She refused to let her vision keep her from doing her best in school, and at times, she literally fought through the pain to finish schoolwork instead of going to the clinic. However, the pain was too much sometimes, and this caused Bianca to be either checked out early or she was just unable to make it to class. With parents in search of answers, they did everything that they could to determine why their daughter was in so much pain. After going to many doctors and being frustrated, they were finally given a referral to a local ophthalmologist. This is when things began to look up for Bianca. After a thorough examination of her eyes, Bianca learned that she was misdiagnosed when she was younger. With a true diagnosis, her ophthalmologist suggested that eye surgery was the best thing for her. At the beginning of January, Bianca got her eye surgery. Just like any surgery, Bianca was out of school to recover. Her days out of school continued to build up. 5th grade is not easy, so being out of school so much presents an even bigger challenge. But Bianca took on this trial beautifully. What makes Bianca so special is that she always takes initiative and comes to me to ask for her missed work. She has had many chances to give up because of the difficulty, but she continues to push through, asking for help when concepts are not as clear. Her class participation is top-notch, which amazes her teachers because most students would back down when things got tough. However, Bianca is always willing to put herself out there and is never afraid to be wrong or get clarification. With this attitude, she has had a huge influence on the people that she is around, specifically her classmates. Bianca is a silent leader, but simply put, her actions speak louder than words. She brings out the best in everyone with her contagious smile, love for life, dedication, perseverance, and hard work. Bianca is truly an inspiration to all. Now, she would like to say a few words, but this is Walker's 2018 Cox Hero, Bianca Lafata.
I would like to thank my family for helping me with FSA and making me feel courage that I have right now.
Our final hero of the evening comes from Wright Elementary School. Liam Hurley will now be introduced by Barbara Smith.
Thank you guys so much for saving the best for last. The young gentleman I'm introducing is Mr. Liam Hurley of Wright Elementary under the leadership of Dr. Gail Anita Choice. Liam is a happy, eager to learn 4-year-old preschool disabilities boy who has a medical kidney diagnosis. He received a transplant May of 2016. When Liam received that kidney transplant, it gave him a second chance at life. Even though he's been confronted with many obstacles, these obstacles have not been a showstopper. His actions, attendance, and participation in age-appropriate activities are indicators of his love for school. He enjoys listening to stories and facts about animals. He provides lots of details when retelling stories in sequential order. By the second month of enrolling into our preschool disabilities program, this young gentleman mastered his upper and lowercase alphabet. He also mastered enunciating the sounds of each of the alphabet. He is now rote counting to 100. He is also identifying and recognizing all numbers 0 to 100. He's reading single and double digits. He can spell his own first name, and he is now verbally communicating, and he's definitely comprehending. His favorite activity in school is show and tell. Each Friday we have show and tell, and they must bring a different item each Friday. Liam is extremely animated, and he's always got a lot to say about his show and tell item. Liam has the right attitude, and he takes right actions. He greets everyone with a smile and a hug. He focuses and he pays attention to details when I demonstrate or I provide a model. He is extremely optimistic. He soaks up information like a sponge. Liam also enjoys putting together simple and complex puzzles. He loves working on the computer, and he loves moving to music. Some of the barriers that Liam has overcome are, when he initially came into our environment, he was only drinking Pediasure. Now he's eating solid foods. He also was only drinking from a straw, but now he sucks. He actually drinks from a spout. He was using the potty, but he wasn't using it independently, but now he is. He wasn't verbally communicating, but now he's verbally communicating. This is one awesome guy, and our inspirational hero from Wright Elementary is none other than Liam Hurley.
That was great. Thank you, Liam. And thank you, Ms. Smith, and thank you to all the presenters today for telling the story of your heroes. Let's give these students another round of applause.